Hello. You know what time it is. It's Summer Rayne reporting for duty and bearded for your pleasure. Oh my God. Another episode of the Scandal Sesh. Let's get my co-host introduced. Let's give it up for Perry.
Good morning. I'm very confused because the sun's still out, and normally when the sun's out, that means I should be in bed, right? But I guess they're screwing with us with this daylight savings time. So here we are, ready for some Scandal Sesh. Thank you for having me, Summer. And we also brought another guest today, our very favorite Katya.
Kate, yeah, I love you're like Katie.
I know. I was like, I have Candy Muse on my head.
Actually, my drug dealer name, or like the name I use when I'm doing something sketchy, is always Katie. Like I'll sign something Katie, or if you ever see if you see a guest login and it's got Katie, that's me.
Well, I don't know why I'm confusing you with Candy, because I do like you a lot, but
You don't like candy?
No. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us. Before we start talking about the episode, let's talk about you a little bit. Like, where'd Katya come from, and what you got going on? What can we expect from you in the future?
Sure. I am Katya, and I'm from Portland, but I'm originally from Minnesota. Lived in New York for a little bit, and when I was on my way to Portland, and I stayed just about 4 years in Minneapolis between then and there, I like got really drunk one night. Well, not just one night. It was the night that the Kennedy Katya lip sync happened, which by the way is my favorite. I live and die by I watched that strong, like that Katy Perry number, and like listen to Roar and just imagine I'm still in that headspace. Because I'd only met Katya a couple times when I was like younger in Boston, and it met is a strong word because it just was like I was at her show, but I was young, impressionable, and gay. And so she was really only the drag, because I didn't know any other drag queens. So I was like, oh my God, I know of someone who's on Drag Race. And when she got booted off, I apparently got really drunk, allegedly, and confirmed by my sources, including myself. And I also, a little side note is I used to change my name all the time on Facebook, where it was like, if I felt enraged or thought something was funny, I would like change my name on Facebook. But then in conjunction, so Katya Goes Home, I changed my name to being like outrage and justice for Katya, because Kennedy Davenport left the stage, which, as you remember, per the rules that are very loosely set in stone, that when you can't leave the stage, since India Farah had picked up, got picked up by Mimi on First. So fun fact, not so fun. So I got mad, changed my name, and then that's why I'm Katya. And then like literally, I feel like it sort of like became like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like I didn't really do events, and like all of a sudden I do events, and now I do other things. And so yeah, here we are.
Yeah, because that was back like right when you did that was right when Facebook stopped letting you change your name anymore, right? Like,
yes, yeah, that's that intersection of 2015 where they were like, no fake names, because again, this is before the 2016 election, before we really understood that social media was like this really huge, massive tool for like social upheaval. Part of me, like it was me like reclaiming social media for like, because I sort of commodified it so much. But now I was like, okay, well, actually it's back, business is not exactly back to normal, but hopefully will be soon. And so I've started using it for its intended purpose. And so it's just Clip Cop Katya from now on.
And now you're doing like a From the Horse's Mouth little talk show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And anything else coming up? Anything?
So From the Horse's Mouth is kind of like this really, I'm having so much fun with it. I've been talking about doing it for years, and I interviewed our lovely host, Summer Rayne. Love to interview you, Perry, because you've lived in Portland for a minute. So it's like both about the Portland nightlife scene, because that's what I know and love. And then I've been like managing, because of the virtual world that we find ourselves in currently, and for almost everything, people are much more open to be like, let's do a virtual interview. And so I've been able to like connect with people from queer scenes in Seattle and LA and San Francisco and New York and Minneapolis and Chicago, just from like my random comings and goings. And so that has been really fun. And that's like the virtual side. which is kind of like what I'm doing right now, just because of the whole COVID thing. But I also have like pre-recorded interviews that I'm doing, and editing, which we're both talking about the joys of editing, the new skill that we're learning on the go.
Right.
And the third installment is like a podcast. So I'm working with a few special hosts, including like Nene Leaks Cartier and D and my friend Chris and Kyle, and just like rotating out, like having panels and discussing certain things, but also having fun and just being silly per usual. So
Yeah.
we'll see what that was. I don't know. There's no rush in anything. I feel like these days it's like as long as they finish it before the things start opening back up.
Right.
There's so much more. We have so much more time, I think. So.
So let's go ahead and get into this episode. We're going to talk about the season 13 girls. This week was the branding challenge, which is kind of why we specifically asked you to be our guest. We know that Katya's really got the Katya brand going on. I think everybody, even people that don't know you, know you. I just remember from going to DragCon with you, like how many people would just like randomly come up to you and be like, I follow you on Instagram. Like,
that was a surprise because I only have like 4,000 followers on Instagram. It's not exactly like, I like it because I feel like I actually know all those 4,000 people, like in a weird sort of way. Not well, obviously, but I like social media for it's got its pros and cons. I was just discussing how I love people no longer have personalities; they only have brands. Like, it's like, what's your brand? Like, and is your brand being a bitchy person? Like, I'm like, like people's brands are, or like people's brands are them being like their horoscope or their astrological sign. Like, I'm a Pisces.
what is your brand? Are you a bitchy person?
I don't like, that's the thing is like, I don't, it's as much as I like understand and like totally manipulate the whole brand. Like, I think right now is the horse thing is my thing. I really think it's funny. And a few of my closest friends, like, it's just really funny to us. And I think it's sort of like, it works, has a broader appeal because, and I don't even think everyone does Ketamine. I don't think people even get it because it's just like a funny thing. It's kind of like when the bird thing happens. So I'm able to like lean into those moments, but I'm not exactly someone who'd be like, what's your brand? I don't know. I don't know what my brand is. Because I feel like you've also known me from before I had a brand. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm that different from them.
Not to get too far off topic, but coming up is the Australian version. Is there a certain drag queen in Australia you're rooting for?
Oh, is there someone that I should be?
There's a girl named Ketamine.
Oh, is there really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
When I saw it, I was like,
I am a huge fan of hers. Gigantic fan. I honestly, there's been so many nights that she's been there for me. No, I was kidding. But I'm all about drug positivity. Honestly, like, it's funny, like the last 6-7 months, haven't really been doing ketamine at all because I've just been taking a break because I realized it's not my vibe right now. It's like to party until there's a party. So but it's just funny to me. It's just a funny internet thing. I love the internet for it. The internet allows itself to be branded because people all just like pitch in, like Twitter and Reddit, and it's so easy to find content that sort of like fits whatever theme or vibe you are. So I would say, like, to answer your question the longest roundabout way, my brand is organized nonsense, which is very indicative of the way it took to get to this answer. But yeah, so I just sort of like, I have some skills, and I enjoy just like random things and just kind of roll with it. So that's my brand.
What about you, Summer? What's your brand?
Well, I see Katya's as organized chaos that has inclusivity and positivity for all. I can see you like statue on gold and diamond.
Yeah, I wish someday. I'm too busy worshiping like the real Katya. It's funny. It's like it just goes up the chain. It just goes up the food chain. I'm so happy to be like the part of this quirk. And like, I know sometimes you ever just think like, thank God I'm gay. But sometimes how I feel.
Yeah, I don't know what my brand is. It's bearded. I'm still trying to find myself.
Oh.
I would say polished. I would say like, I think of you as just someone who's like, I remember like, I thought you were pretty fresh on the scene, which I guess after doing your interview, it's like you've been doing drag for a minute, but I feel like you started taking it really seriously after Miss Sanana and Flawless booked you. And after, yeah, I just like dedicated, polished. Yeah, I think inclusivity works for you too, because you do things that, I don't know. I think there's a, especially Drag Race. I don't think, has there been a bearded queen on Drag Race? No, I don't think so.
Holland.
Holland, yeah. But it's like, it's sometimes the frustrating thing about Drag Race is even though it's like amazing and I'm never gonna stop watching it, I wish they could do more to like include people of all sorts of different types of drag. You.
So the mini challenge this week was like a little quiz game. It was very simple and a little condescending towards the pit crew. But Candy won. I don't think that the mini challenge was very exciting this week, but
I love a game show.
I don't know. They had that moment where Candy she thought it was $25,000 and then she ended up winning the, if you had 12 something and you took away 8 something, how much do you have left? Oh man, that
Everyone,
probably the funniest part.
She really did. She did say $25,000, and like I was like, I hope she knows. Like, also 25. I don't even know what she won, but like $25,000 worth of any 25,000 worth of, like you can't even spend that amount of money in whatever thing that was. It was something trivial, but we went to the pit crew panel at DragCon, like because RuPaul was at it,
right, and because the pit crew was at it.
I mean, I would say now I would go for the pit crew, but to me, I was just going to see RuPaul. Like, I knew a little. Like, I'm always on I know so much about RuPaul. It's fucking insane. I'm always on the Wikipedia pages. I'm always on the wiki RuPaul things, like looking up weird facts. And they have like a whole section about like every pit crew that's been on there. And RuPaul actually cares a lot about the pit. Like she knew everything about their lives. She knows all their names, and she's very like involved in like their success outside of Drag Race, which I think is so interesting.
The ginger one, did you know that he's a like space engineer? And
I didn't, but I wouldn't put it past him.
He is smart, girl.
Bruno is like a trainer, I think, and then I think Jay is an anchor on E. Like they all like choose to do it. Like it's like a family thing. I bet they get good money from it. So I hope there was like a little bit more tongue in cheek that they didn't know about stuff, because it's like obviously I think they're part of the RuPaul family and that they are like who else, what other show has models that are like reoccurring? Like that's so unusual for a show to have like reoccurring back extras. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, I kind of think that was like the Price is Right thing for the longest time. Like that's one of the big things about the Price is Right was they always had the models modeling, and like it was a huge ordeal when they finally started allowing male models to join as well. So.
You know, the struggle for male equality has really been difficult. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Especially the white male, like it's a rough.
Honey, every day I wake up and I go, oh, I'm a white male again. No, okay. So fun. And I like a show also. I love that we're at the point of the show where it is like a show within a show. Like they're like, what are the facts about this show and people on the show? Like it's just like, it's 13 seasons at this point of regular content plus all this stuff. It's so in the zeitgeist of the gay, vernacular and history. It's like, it's just like in all of we all know too much about Drag Race. If you're a Drag Race fan, she's off her beta blockers and it's like getting kind of fun and gay again. And I'm kind of back into it again. Cause I used to sort of like, and also now I feel like I watch UK. I really like UK a bit more than America, but I haven't watched Holland. I've watched some of Canada now.
Thailand?
I've seen Thailand, because I'm such a person that puts on things in the background, like, and nothing against subtitles. I don't want to be that girl, but like, I just don't look at that TV. It's just like, I'm barely watching a TV. Like I'm a double screener. I'm looking at my phone. I'm working on my computer while something's playing in the background.
So we keep getting distracted from this episode. Let's talk about the challenge. The challenge was branding let's just talk about each of their actual commercials. So start with Utica. Utica had the strange soda, the lick her can.
Oh my God, I can't. I get that she's quirky, but when she was producing it, and then the actual final performance, she was sucking on the nipple, she was licking the can. It did not scream, "This is Utica." It just screamed weird. I couldn't look away. But it didn't make me want to. It didn't want me to have the soda. I don't want to lick it.
I mean, I feel so strongly and differently. I mean, but I live for a Utica style of queen. Like Utica is like a Crystal Method Katya archetype, and I enjoy someone that I don't know what they're gonna do. Like you have no idea what Utica's gonna do. I would say, and like to me, that was on brand. I would agree that like, and it always reminds me sometimes when they'll give a critique and it's like we watched it, but maybe it's for the wrong reasons or it didn't match the criteria of the challenge, which is like to sell your brand. I think we got your brand. I just don't think we were buying what she was selling, which I think sometimes is another beautiful thing about Utica. I'm just not quite sure that she cares. Like I know she cares about the competition and she's like passionate a person because even like I'm from Minneapolis and I know quite a few people that know her and we're really big fans of her before the show, and so I just thought it was Clara the cow. Also, like she has inside jokes that I think she thinks are inside jokes, but really she just thinks like Clara the cow. Like you mentioned that a little bit one time.
Well, I think it was Simone that was like, Utica sometimes doesn't believe in herself. And so sometimes she just does it and it's like, this is who it is, but isn't like truly confident in the character she's giving.
I think we're gonna see like a Katya arc with her. Like she'll come back for All Stars and she's gonna be like, actually, I was a really anxious person. And now when she comes back, she'll be weird with intention and weird with, like I think Ross Matthews said something about her knowing herself but she's just not able to quite sell it yet. Like Alyssa Edwards, I was, you have to buy what you're selling, I think is what she says. So I think she's just needs to buy it before we'll sell it, or yeah. You got it.
Her crazy kookiness is just fun TV. And what I think is funny is like I feel like if somebody else would have done this challenge, like from last season, if Jada Essence Hall would have done this exact same thing, they would have loved it because it was out of the box for Jada, because Jada's so beautiful and like that's her style. Whereas Utica is like so quirky. I think that they didn't like it because it was just more quirky. They want her to do something different. But then at the same point in time, like on the branding challenge, shouldn't that be the one challenge that you do what you're known for? So I always find their critiques to be so weird because like I'll see them say something to someone one season that they'll say the complete opposite a couple seasons later, and you're like, like,
well, and that's art, baby. I think we both judged things before. It's one of my favorite and only skills. I think it requires like you have to be there in that moment, and like because sometimes you'll see something on TV and like it's not even just that like I'll not understand or I'll see like contradictions in the judging critiques. They'll just be like, I did not get that at all. Like I didn't like Candies. I thought Candies was really bland. So it's like you'll never know what the judges' critiques will sort of they'll resonate with you.
Well, for time's sake, I think let's go ahead and do their Beast Couture at the same time. So talked about Utica's commercial. Let's talk about her Beast Couture look. I actually thought she was like inspired by Beauty and the Beast. She was, instead of being or the Beast, she was being Beauty and the Beast together, and I thought it was gorgeous. Like Michelle said that she's seen this before, and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen this before. Like I think it was original and beautiful.
I mean, I think I just love that yellow black combination, and she had a few other flecks in it. There's been a lot of yellow, orange, red combos this season. I would say that I agree with Michelle in the sense that it's I thought it was an original piece that was done in like an uninventive way. Like that's just a really traditional silhouette. Like I think we literally saw Taste in the UK sort of do like a similar thing, like not. And again, it's like akin. I know it's not like exactly the same. I think maybe that was what Michelle was saying, because I don't know, for Utica especially, I would expect like at least one something to be extra Utica-y, or at least really, really beastly. And I just kind of like, I felt like I don't know, she's sort of missed the mark for me. I'd say like 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I just like the nails. I had the fur.
Yeah, no, I would say like if I saw her at a club, I'd be like, yes, work. You look, I'd say
Nails with the fur, got the whole club looking at her.
she looked good. I think I mean, it's also like at this point of Drag Race, it's like they all look freaking fantabulous. I mean, they all these things are custom, all these things are made. Like, you know, everyone comes to play at Drag Race usually, and if they don't, they go home really quickly.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to Candy. You just said that you thought hers was kind of bland. In my notes, all I wrote down was, nope, terrible.
I'm glad you agree.
I'm
so
having a hard
time.
time.
I thought you could bottom for sure.
I'm having a hard time.
And I
trying
love
to
Candy, by the
separate.
way. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time trying to separate my dislike for Candy with trying to not let it, like each time she comes out of the runway, I don't want to be pre-biased. I want to like give her an opportunity every time. And like, there's been times where she's surprised me. Like, there's been a couple things that I do think she's done good at. Like last week, I definitely think she deserved to be safe. But no, I just really, this week, I just really don't think that she did good in this challenge. I didn't get the jokes.
I thought it was almost like evident. She's so stiff. She was barely accentuating her words. Like, and again, like for her to not be loud, and like I think that's something when you like mentioned, like people will go, you know, then that is the nature of everyone's judged differently. But like when she's quiet, the judge is like, wow, that's so interesting of you to be quiet. Like you really took a risk by not being yourself. I don't know. I mean, I think I like Candy, and I do agree with I think Carson, superstar, what style superstar Carson, because they said that she could sell like anything, because she's just sort of she got like a quality that makes you want to watch. It makes you sort of like, she's got a charisma. I didn't hate it because I just don't hate her, but I just wasn't like sold. It was a little, yeah.
And boring. I don't even remember what her soda did.
It made you feel like you're in the VIP section.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed her performance.
How do I end one of these calls? I actually.
Right there.
There we go.
Oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
She did great in the little moment where she was licking the milk.
But why? Why is that VIP? Like, I guess entertainment, I guess.
Oh my God.
Were you high when you watched it?
Was I high? Was she high? I was like, I was high.
When actually was that? Yes, I probably was.
It was last night. What are you talking? When was that?
So, as far as runways go, I think this was the worst runway of the night. Like, I actually didn't think anybody had a bad runway except for this one. Like,
I didn't get it. No, ma'am.
Was it supposed to be like the little beastie on your back? Like, I've heard that like as an like a monkey on your back. I've heard that like, but it's like a very like, but she didn't even say that on the runway, so I don't even think that's what it was supposed to be.
Katya, what's that purple thing behind you? It's your monkey.
What purple thing? What?
The monkey on your back.
Oh, stop it! I'm gonna hang up right now. I'm so gullible. I was like, where am I? Actually, I thought because of my friend's place I'm staying at, it could have been like a dildo, just like knowing them. And then the penis just does the rest of the interview. Okay. Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to add other than I thought it was bad, and it was ill-fitting. It wasn't even like, it was not tasteful and ill-fitting, but you know, and it's sometimes, and also at this point, you know that they just go to designers, and then the designers they say this is the challenge, and they pitch them the ideas, and Candy goes that one, and she pays for it, and that's what she got.
I just thought it was, before we move on to Tina though, like I
No,
thought it was
please,
really
I'm in a
weird
rush.
that she had the green thing come all the way around her face and then like her face didn't meld into it. Like, why didn't she have some, I don't know, like I feel like she should have blended it or had a green face or like it was just
Right.
I hope you edit this out.
That would have done something.
Well, I hope you edit this out, but the reason I thought she was going for like a Teletubby thing. Because that's what it looked like to me, like straight up. Because like, what other thing has like a different color than like their
But it was
head?
like a Grinch, like a naked Grinch, like a.
And then like the hair was so unflat, and like the dummy matched it, but there was no story. There was like she even on the runway didn't say anything. She wasn't like like she didn't do a Kennedy Davenport or anything. She just like straight up walked out there.
She came out of her mother's womb attached to a shriveled purple.
The best part about her whole runway was when they made the joke about it being like a weekend at Bernie's with an alien. Because I was like, oh my gosh, at least you gave me something to think about with this. But like that wasn't Candy's intent. But
yeah.
All right, now we can move on to Tina. How do we feel about her commercial? She went from like housewife to super slutty. I thought it was okay.
I agree with the judges. It's the same thing. It goes from housewife to red, little high energy to housewife to red, high energy. I don't know. There just needs to be something different. But I mean, it's a branding challenge. You can't blame the girl for doing something that's on brand.
I know, but and then like I guess it's like where I just think Tina reminds me of my favorite kind of queen, which is just a queen. She shows up on time. She always has a really solid number. It might be one you've seen before, but she does her thing really well. And I think like especially for her, she like went on Drag Race. I think with a specific, like she's been auditioning for what, like 10 seasons or something, like a crazy amount. I think she like went in thinking she could do what like worked in season 4, 5, and 6, and then like, but it's like, I don't know. It's just like we need more now. So there's like she should make more fire jokes that are different than just like it is one note. So I think like she has something, but she just isn't like she doesn't want. Maybe she doesn't want to go farther with it, but she just sort of seems like a comfortable queen, which I think they touched on in their critiques too.
But I think, but she won Miss Comedy New York or Miss Comedy.
She's funny. I love her. The way when she was wearing that wig, and then they were like, and she's like, she's had a really, she seems like she doesn't take herself too seriously, which I think is like, unfortunately not sort of coming through with her performances or her runways, because she's sort of just like prepackaged. But like again, I think she just like had this like Drag Race idea in her head, and she's not letting like who she is now at this point. I think it's like she's like in her 30s, right? I think she's more of like an established person, but not, I don't know. She seems sort of like a young queen in my eyes.
She had a very precious moment in Untucked.
Oh, I didn't watch Untucked for the first time. I didn't watch Untucked. Was it something, who cried? Did everyone, I mean, everyone cried.
Yes, Tina let loose hardcore. Her mom came on and Tina let loose about something, you know, they've been through a lot. As you know, this pandemic shows we have all been through so much.
I thought that in her challenge, she just did all right. Like it was safe. Like you were saying, she's very comfortable. I agree with that. But I don't think that it stood out as like one of the worst. And then the same with her runway. Like I think her runway didn't stand out as one of the best, but it definitely wasn't one of the worst. Like I feel like she's done that so much that maybe this time around they're just like, okay, we're tired of you being safe.
And I will say there is something to be said that her makeup is a bit hard. It's hard on the eyes. It's not like just bad. It's like and I've seen it before. We've all seen it before. I imagine her makeup will get a lot better because she'll have more money, and like it'll just like it's just. And again, I don't know anything about makeup, so this is not a criticism. It's just an observation. It's just it's just like hard to like it's just it made it seem worse. I think it made her look bad, worse than it could have been. Like she should have done something. I don't know. I get what she's trying to do too. She's trying to be different, so I can't even make that criticism. But poor Tina Burner.
But her look on the runway blew my mind. I thought that it was.
Is that why you have a bit? Is that what your background is?
Yes, look at it. Isn't it so fun?
I completely forgot about this.
I mean, I love how just dramatic it was, but the makeup, it should have been a little bit more high caliber.
So next is Simone.
Oh, she is. I think she's gonna win, girl. I mean, it is high caliber. The character that comes out in her can, it is just so fun. And she brings in all of the characters throughout the season, but you can't get tired of it. Can't grow tired of it.
Yeah. I definitely think she nailed it. I also just like when we were talking earlier about like sometimes it's in the moment, like just knowing the audience, and like sometimes the judges are going to receive something well and sometimes they aren't. She's got the judges, like she's got her finger on their pulse. Like she knows exactly how to get them, because like you could just see as soon as her video started playing, like I did enjoy it, but even if I didn't, I could tell they did. Like
And she took direction well.
Yeah.
I mean, Ross was like, try this. And then it even just made it so much better.
Well, it's like way back on that one challenge where she did the Flag Day challenge, where she said a word wrong, and Michelle, or whoever was it Ross directing, said, oh, go with that, like do that. And then like she's like, oh, you think this is funny? And then she expanded on that and like said a couple other words wrong. And like she definitely, like you said, takes their notes. And like when she realizes that she's getting something that makes them laugh, she keeps doing it. Like
Yeah. I thought she looked stunning, obviously. I mean, I live for like a sort of like, what do you call those furries look? It looked like she was like being a furry, which I thought was
full on.
Oh
She was
my
like the queen of
God.
And
Brandon said the same thing. He's like, she looks like a furry. I was like,
where was the hole? I was
"Ooh."
like, lift up that tail. I need to see if there's other entrances to this play park. Yeah, no, I'm okay, but and then of course and then so it's weird already because it's a big furry costume, and then it's even weirder because it's like a furry costume that's like in a slutty outfit, like which I'm like an outfit I'm like basically wearing right now. Like I was sold on that. For her commercial, I thought it was really good and really funny. I just didn't quite get like how it was Simone. Like to me, I think of Simone like you drink it and you'd be a confident like person who's, I don't know, well spoken and like an actor. I don't know. I just thought there'd be a bit more like of Simone in it. Not, but it felt like to me it was just like safe in that she knew the judges would receive it well.
Yeah.
And it was good enough. I was just surprised it was a double win because I thought hers was just like high mark one.
When I liked her video a lot, but as far as her runway goes, she did look stunning. But I just feel like this not like this isn't a costume. This literally is a costume. Like it's a furry. Like I feel like.
But I always think that I don't like that critique of the runway. I'm like everything you're wearing, it's all costume. So I'm like I don't know what. Well, like even if it was a costume, I don't know what would be negative about that.
Right, but I just think that it's funny that they so often like get mad about that, and then when
I see what you're saying.
For her, like,
well,
but I mean, it looked great on her. Maybe it's because she did embellish it in the sense
she
that
styled it
well,
yeah.
like.
But I mean, the feet.
But to me, it just was like it just didn't seem over the top. Like I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, we're all wrong. Yeah, I guess.
I definitely thought that she was going to be in the top, but I didn't think she was going to win.
Yeah, but I would also agree with some of that. I do think it's either Gottmik or someone for the win. And if Drag Race is going to continue on the trend of sort of going back to doing like a pageant style tallying up thing, which I think there's, I don't know. It seems, I guess, that they're being more just I don't know.
Gottmik. The only thing about her video that stood out to me was like now, like she did so well in the Snatch Game was Paris, but now that's all I'm reading. And like this whole video, I was like, wait, is she still doing Paris? Because
I mean, I don't think Gottmik, I know Gottmik, and not like personally, but I know some people just like Gottmik. So to me, it's like she is a LA boy who lives in West Hollywood, which you know, so I wasn't surprised she did well at Paris. I honestly really liked her commercial, which I was sort of surprised for because it gives me like Lisa Limbaugh vibes, like just like so bizarre. And like she was really sold on it, which was another thing that sort of I loved. I don't think it read, but she was really sold on it, which kind of sold me on it a little bit more than I probably would have been. Like she thought it would made sense. And it made, I was like, I understand the logic. Like you're imagining that you're not falling and clumsy. Like I kind of love that idea. Like nothing's changed. It's a total placebo. You just think that like she should have like leaned in like the placebo thing because I think it would have made it less like it just didn't make sense unless you like thought about it a lot. It wasn't like catchy.
She worried me for a moment because she said that she didn't know what was going on. Like, plus, no one knows what's going on, what to do, unless you've done something like that maybe before. I mean, and who has?
Which they kind of have. They're probably the most experienced person in this season in terms of like showbiz. Like they've been doing people's makeup for a minute, like big people's makeup.
yeah, she's probably definitely been on some sets. She's seen some storyboarding before. And then
And she has a good brand. That's like
Yeah.
outside of Drag Race. It's like I didn't know it didn't translate. I think she overthought it, to be quite honest.
And then, I mean, like, no matter how bad she did on the challenge, I think that her runway was my personal favorite runway of the night. Like, so I was like, okay, she's definitely like bringing herself up with this. Like,
Wow.
I love that runway.
That was so
Gor-
cool.
Yeah. Gorgeous silhouette.
Yeah, that was really cool. They should have done, you know what they should have done, their brand is their makeup. They should have done like the Gottmik Gatorade, and when you take it, you slap on that paint. I don't know.
I think they should have gone with like they are like a valley girl boy. Like they're just a valley person. Like they just man. Like all of a sudden, like you take a drink of this and you're in California and you have a trust fund and like I don't know. That's like what like I think her brand is. She just like I always joke, but she like reads very like twink to me, like twink culture, and so I am here for it.
Or if she was gonna play into that Paris like Snatch Game thing, she totally just could have gone full board and like started out doing the drab voice and then took a drink and then did the Paris voice like she did in Snatch Game. Like, oh, this drink is how I got that voice. Like, I don't know, but
Missed the mark, but I'm glad that they weren't in the bottom.
Yeah, but you're right, Perry. Their runway was freaking cool.
The next one was Olivia.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I think it was a miss for me too. It wasn't anything. It was the generic version. She's like, this will refresh you with hydration, and that is what it does. And you should buy it. I don't know. It just was very. It was just in the packaging and the live. Like I was like, girl, I don't know. I thought she's so creative. I thought and also she's so known for her positivity. It was weird that she didn't find a way to like spin that in a more creative way.
Mm-hmm. I didn't notice it until the judges were saying it, but she was very like, they said one note, but I took it as like that laughter, smiling the whole time. And then they had the bits all throughout when she was performing. And I was like, you're right. She was like, there was no like valleys up and downs. There should have been like a big kaboom at the end.
Yeah.
But she looked great on the runway. She was one of my tops in the runway, and I think that's what saved her.
See, for me, like when I was talking about Candy earlier, it's like I always look through her. I feel like I see her through a lens where I just don't like her. And then it's the exact opposite with Olivia. I see Olivia through a lens of like, it's hard for me to find fault in anything she does because I just love her so much. But I mean, I still tried to like judge it a little. I try to not have my biases completely there. And like, I was like, when I was watching, I was like, I think she's gonna be safe. And then like, I also did really like her runway. It reminded me of Monsters Inc., which is one of my favorite Pixar movies. But I just think it wasn't great for sure, but I probably wanted to put it in the bottom.
I thought it was gonna be her lip syncing because I didn't love I thought the runway was very like middle of the pack, and I thought her because a lot of the other ones they may not have landed, but at least they were creative and interesting. Hers didn't land, and it was boring. And I think they've said on the show, and I would agree, the worst thing you can do in show business is bore me. So
Yeah.
I'd rather not be bored and I'd rather have someone take a risk than, I don't know. So I'm glad. I mean, also, but I love Olivia Lux too. I have a signed Olivia Lux tiny bag. I super stand, but I also sometimes like feel like we have to sort of separate the whole competition and just focus on that week.
Her runway was the runway of looking like Candy Muse's attachment and no one has any idea of what it is. Couture.
Yes, Candy Muse definitely came in the mail, and hers was purchased right off the mannequin. It was pretty. It was like styled well. I mean, she looked pretty. Again, it's just I didn't say there's anything technically wrong. I just didn't think it was that like I was like, it was just 7 out of 10.
All right, and then the last one tonight was Rose. So I always try to take little short notes. I don't want to spend too much time writing notes. So for Rose's, I just wrote down LOL. And then a little bit later, I wrote, no, literally, I'm laughing out loud. I'm like, okay, I think she's gonna win. I thought it was hilarious. She did a great job. I also love the nod to Jan, who was cut short last season. Her wearing her Jan robe, cracked face Jan.
She's technically been in Drag Race the most because she's like her face is on there like 50 times.
Right. Oh, did she finally beat out who was it from last season that was on there all the time?
The broccoli. Yeah.
The broccoli.
I mean, technically just by like because that what but I just thought that was sort of like a funny little anecdote.
Well, and I also think that it's great that it just happened to be the branding episode because that was the episode that Jan went home on. So it's great that she got to have a little comeback in this episode. As far as her runway goes, I thought it was super sexy and I liked the red makeup. It wasn't my favorite, but it was really good.
This was my absolute favorite. I'm a huge fan of Rosé. I will drink Rosé all day, every day.
I've heard that before. I think from you.
Right, girl. See me at Roost Rock every Sunday. Catch some rain.
Yes. That was my kind of drag in terms of like the silhouette was honestly, I've hated Rosé's fashion. As much as I think Rosé's talented, I just think her fashion has been so off this whole season. Again, she's someone else who picked a designer. They were like, I like ruffles. I like tulle. So You're going to like ruffles and tulle too. We're going to put on everything in the places it doesn't belong. You're going to look like a pillowcase. Like, I just think she's done a lot of things this season that has questionable taste. But this one was something totally different than her normal go-to thing. And I think it paid off because she looked really gorgeous. And then in the challenge, I think she did, in a weird way, successfully tackle her perfectionist tendencies. Because I mean, that resonates with me. Wanting people to perceive you as perfect, and so going crazy trying to, but of course no one can do that. So it's just sort of like a never-ending cycle. And she sort of poked fun at it, and I bought it. And also Rosé, like that is brand. That's a good brand. That's like something she could do in real life, and people would purchase it. I bet she will, to be quite honest.
So, out of all of them, who did you think, like, before they announced the tops and bottoms, who were your personal tops and bottoms this week?
Oh, tops and bottoms of the season of this episode. I'm gonna say for myself, Simone, Rose, and Candy.
For the top?
Yeah. Yeah. Simone, Rose, and
She like bravely lists all of them. She's like, I just want to
stand
say.
by my word. I stand by my word.
So who did you want to see lip sync?
And I wanted to see lip sync Utica and Olivia.
What about you, Katya?
I think that Rose was the best, and I thought that Olivia's was the worst. Yeah.
Okay. If any time so far this season, I think this would have been the best time to use the double save. But I thought Tina killed that lip sync.
I agree.
She grooved.
I
But I
agree.
also think it was Tina's time in my mind. Just I wasn't getting anything new from Tina. I thought Utica was much better.
Oh,
like
really?
Utica's to me, she's an amazing yeah. I think Utica's because she's again, and I'm biased towards this style of queen who keeps me on my toes because she's just so emotive and she's so quirky with her just her joints. I'm like, how does she move in the way that she does? But she does it, and I was drawn. My eyes were drawn more to her, and she didn't miss a beat. Where Tina again, she kind of just gave me like classic drag lip sync.
Okay, anyway, so Tina's gone. No matter how I felt about the lip sync or whatever, like, thank God they sent someone home this week. So now we're to a final six.
Yes.
We could see a finale in the future. I'm still Team Olivia, but I think that Olivia, Simone, and Gottmik have to be the top three. Rose, if they do a top four. What are you guys' thoughts?
I think Rose is definitely my top three. Simone, and at this point, what else do we have? I mean, what other challenges do we have?
Next week's the
really
roast.
The roast, so funny. So, I mean, I don't know.
Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for joining us, Katya. It was great talking to you.
Thanks for joining.
It was okay talking to you guys, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks so much for having me. I think I'm gonna see you real soon, like so soon.
So soon.
We're so sorry. Our phones have been disconnected, so we can't call a taxi to come pick you up. But I hope that you could take our fine charcuterie board that's in the back waiting for you as a fine farewell gift.
I would die. I love charcuterie boards.
Neat.
All right, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.